And remember that in our last class, I was able to cover basically the tax one of the IELTS writing, which I looked at the tax one academic, which is basically diagram interpretation, to share on how to attempt the question. All right, and we did a bit of the practical aspect of it. And after which, yes, Innocent, good evening as well too. And then I was able to screen for us to see the kind of questions that would likely see on exam day. I was also able to tell us the different types of diagram that will most likely see on exam day. All right. Then after which we looked at, I'm trying to give a basic summary of what we did the last time. So in case if you weren't in class, so you'll be able to follow up as well too. So in tax one general training, we looked at letter writing. We focused on the aspect of how to write a formal letter, okay, using the features of IELTS, that is according to how IELTS wants it. Then after we looked at the informal letter pattern, okay, and I was able to also share the features or the strategies on how to attempt that. Okay, please, I would advise that you kindly mute yourself. Kindly mute yourself. Just mute yourself so that we can have a pleasant class. You understand? So we don't need distractions. Don't need distractions, please. And if I need you to probably ask a question, I'll really you type it in the comment box. All right. So kindly mute yourself so that we can have a very peaceful class. We don't want more okay? Because if you're muted and you're talking, it will definitely be distracting me and be distracting those that are listening as well. So if you know you won't be able to listen, just kind of mute yourself, all right, so that others can have a very peaceful class. Thank you so much. Now, let's proceed. Let's proceed. So today we're going to be looking at the tax 2 writing, and then we're starting off with that. So please grab your notebook and your pen and let's dive in. So concerning the IELTS writing, I told us that there are two tasks. There is tax 1 and there is tax 2. Okay. So last week we were able to look at tax 1. So today, no, yes, Monday rather, we're able to look at tax 1. Today we're looking at tax 2. Now, tax 2 is essay writing, and I'm sure you know that essay writing is quite different from diagram interpretation. Essay is also quite different from letter writing. There are two different types. Okay. Now we're going to be looking at the essay writing. So what is essay? An essay is a piece of writing. An essay is a piece of writing which contains the ideas, comma, thoughts, comma, opinions, comma, and feelings expressed in a written form. Expressed in a written form, either for formal or informal usage. That means the essay can be used for formal usage or informal usage. Okay, so now we're going to shift the focus a little bit. I'm sure that we're used to the different types of essay writing back in secondary school, where we have narrative essay, descriptive essay, expository and argumentative, okay? But this type of essay is going to be focusing on um, another aspect, such as in this particular essay, we're going to be looking at a question that has to do with, do you agree or disagree with this view? We're going to be looking at, to what extent do you agree or disagree with this view? You can see the questions are quite different from what we are used to, okay, in the secondary school. Now, we're also looking at a question type such as, Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. Does the advantage outweighs the disadvantage? Is this a positive or a negative development? So these are all different types that you're likely to be asked on exam day. All right. So I've been able to give a definition. Okay, that an essay is a piece of writing which contains the idea, thoughts, feelings, opinions expressed in a written form, either for formal or informal usage. That's the definition I gave. And then remember that in Task 2, examiner will give you 40 minutes. You'll be given 40 minutes. So you'll be given 40 minutes to write at least 250 words. Okay? And the beautiful thing is that since IELTS in general is now computer based, so while you're typing, all right, the system will be taking notes of the length of words. Okay? So that means once you've gotten to 250 words, you will definitely be aware. You will know because below um below the left hand corner of the page, you will see the length of words while you're typing. Okay, so you will know when you've gotten to 250 words. And then even if you exceed, even when you exceed 250 words, okay, ensure not to surpass, ensure not to surpass 280 words. Ensure not to surpass 280 words. Okay, even when you exceed 250 words, ensure not to surpass 280 words. And also do not write lesser than 250. Do not write lesser than 250. All right? Do not write lesser than 250. Because if you do, you will definitely be penalized. And concerning this particular essay, after the definition, I want you to also have it in mind that you will never be asked questions that has to do with religion. All right? Question has to do with religion, be it Christianity, Islamic, whatever religion it is. You shouldn't expect question from that part. Now, you also not be asked question about politics. All right? No, don't expect any question from politics, talking about whether it is Democratic, whether it is Republican. This person should mute, okay, him or herself so that we can have a peaceful class. So you never be asked question that has to do with politics, okay? Now, you would also not see a question that has to do with gender related. By gender related, I mean the aspect of patriarchy, the aspect of feminism. Do not expect question from this aspect because you won't see it. All right. Questions that are deeply on the sports, questions that are deeply under entertainment. You will not see questions like that. So don't expect questions like that. Okay. Do not expect questions like that. So these are basically the areas where you should not expect questions from. Okay. But that does not mean that you shouldn't have an idea about them. But for you to be asked as a question, all right, the chances are very, very slim. Now, areas where you should expect questions from, okay, basically education, employment, all right, traveling, health, business, business or entrepreneur, and societal issues generally. That is everyday life issue. You should expect question from that aspect too. Okay. All right. So I hope this is very, very clear. Now, let's proceed to the strategies. Now, be it an academic or general training student, everybody is writing essay. Everybody is doing the essay writing. Whether you're an academic student or a general training student, whether you're an academic candidate or a general training candidate, everybody is doing what? Is doing the essay writing. Okay. It is only when we get to tax one that's where there's usually a separation. Okay. For example, in tax one, academic students will do the diagram interpretation, and then also in tax one, general training will do letter writing. But when you get to tax two, everybody will definitely do the same thing. Everyone will do um, the aspect of essay writing. Okay, now if this is clear enough, now let's proceed. Any particular essay you're giving, okay, any type of essay you're giving, ensure to follow this specific strategy. Ensure to follow this specific strategy. So the first thing to do is anytime you're giving any particular question, all right, try to always start with an introduction. So begin your essay with an introduction. Begin your essay with an introduction. Very, very important. Very, very important. Very, very important. Please just give me a minute. All right, just a minute. I will continue with the class. All right, so I'm back. So remember, like I said, for any particular question that you're giving, I had to quickly ease myself. All right. So for any particular question that you're giving, ensure to start with an introduction. And remember, um, there are two things that you should have on that introduction. Do not forget, as I'm explaining to you, please ensure you're writing it down. Okay. It is very, very important. So the first thing on that introduction is you must be able to paraphrase the topic. You must be able to paraphrase the topic. Now, let's make this very practical. Look at the question that I'm sharing on my screen. All right. Look at the question I'm sharing on my screen. And I'm going to read out the question from here. I'm going to read out the question from here. So the question is, um, some people say that in all levels of education, from primary schools to universities, too much time is spent on learning facts and not enough on learning practical skills. And then the question is, do you agree or disagree? Okay. Now remember, there's a further instruction here, which is give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Write at least 250 words. Okay. Now, the first thing you're supposed to do is to paraphrase the topic. Paraphrase the topic. Now, this is the topic here. Some people say that in all levels of education, from primary schools to universities, too much time is spent on learning facts and not enough on learning practical skills. What do you do? The first thing for you to do is to paraphrase the topic. Yes, paraphrase the topic. How do you paraphrase a topic? For the academic students, I'm sure that by now you should know what paraphrasing means. The academic students. Okay. And then for the general training students, let me also explain that again. To paraphrase simply means try to bring your own vocabulary, try to bring your own word, okay? Use your own vocabulary to replace the given vocabulary here. And remember that when you're paraphrasing, there are some key words that you cannot. There are some key elements that you cannot paraphrase. For example, the specific name of a location, you can't paraphrase it. The date, 1992 or Monday 20th, 1995, things like that, especially for dates. You cannot paraphrase it. And, you know, specific name of a person or specific name of an organization, you cannot paraphrase it. It has to be exactly like that. So words you can paraphrase are, you know, words that you can easily just replace. Don't, if you remove those words, it doesn't alter the meaning. It doesn't alter the meaning of the topic. Those are the words that you can paraphrase. But there are some that when you paraphrase, it will definitely alter the meaning. It will definitely alter the meaning of the topic. I mentioned those ones, like specific name of a person, the exact date, and all of this. When you paraphrase it, it will definitely alter the meaning. Okay? So now let's start with the paraphrasing. Now, for the whole of this class, I'm going to be paraphrasing this so that you can learn, so that you can actually see the way I'm doing it. Okay? And by tomorrow, which is Thursday, I expect that we should have concluded our practice in both listening and reading. So we should be thinking of moving straight to writing. I intentionally did not ask today because I don't want some people to give me excuses. So, but tomorrow, being Thursday, I'm going to ask. Okay. And then in case I don't remember, Ridwan will remind me. He will remind me. Okay. So let's continue. So here, I'm going to paraphrase this. I'm going to paraphrase this particular one. So some people say that. Some people say that. So if you want to paraphrase, you can be picking them, you know, in different phrases. Some people say that. What does that mean? I can paraphrase this to mean it is a popular opinion. Can you say? Some people say that I can change it to it is a popular opinion. Then let me continue. So the way you are reading, you should be able to keep paraphrasing like that as you're reading. That in all levels of education, okay? If you want, now in a particular topic, you might just paraphrase like 3 or 4 times. That's fine. It doesn't mean that you have to paraphrase all the whole words or all the whole phrases. No, no. So, you can say from popular opinion that in all spheres of educational institution, I'll paraphrase in all levels of education too, in all spheres, okay? In all spheres of educational institution, from elementary, that's primary, okay? From elementary schools to tertiary institution, which is universities, tertiary institution. All right. Now, next one is too much time is spent on learning facts. Okay, you can say a lot of time, a lot of time is devoted, a lot of time is devoted on theoretical learning. That's learning facts. Okay. And not and not enough on learning practical skills. And not enough on learning practical skills. What does that mean? That means and not enough on hands-on experience and not enough on hands-on experience. It has to be hyphenated. Hands-on experience. Okay?
So March first,
This person that is talking, he mute himself now. He's not even participating in the class. Hmm? And he's using his noise to distract others. So I've been able to paraphrase now, which is the first thing to do under introduction. The second thing to do under introduction is if the question requires you to either agree or disagree. So under introduction, you should be able to state which side you're taking. I'm going to say that again. There are two things you're expected to do under introduction. The first thing is to paraphrase the topic, which I have done. The second thing is if the question has to do with you agreeing or disagreeing, that is, if the question requires you to agree or disagree, okay, you must state your stand under the introduction. State your stand under the introduction. So it means that after paraphrasing, still under the introduction, after paraphrasing, you need to now state your stand. So you can now state by saying, I strongly agree with this perspective, or I strongly disagree with this view. That's fine. Just take your stand. And usually on exam day, now this 40 hours that you use about read the question, understand the question, use about 5 to 7 minutes to draft your points, because on exam day you'll be given a foolscap sheet on exam day. I mean the main exam itself. You'll be given a foolscap sheet. So ensure to outline your points. Outline your point. I'm going to say this now. Aside from the introduction, you expected to have a minimum of 4 paragraphs or a maximum of 5 paragraphs, aside from the introduction. Okay. Now, the reason why you need to have a minimum of 4 paragraphs to a maximum of 5 paragraphs so that you'll be able to meet up to at least 250 words. Now, under introduction, if those two things have been stated, which is what? Paraphrasing the topic and taking a stand. The next thing is body paragraph 1. That's your first point. This is where you now explain your first point in the first body paragraph. That's body paragraph 1. Remember to use transitions such as firstly, or first and foremost, or beginning with, or starting with. Very, very important. Remember to start with that. The next one is your second body paragraph. And remember to start with your most important points. For instance, the 5 to 7 minutes that you've used to draft out your points, check your points very well. If you have about 5 points, look at all the 5 points very well. Start with the most important one. Start with the most crucial one. Pick the most crucial one, then put that in the very first paragraph. That's paragraph 1. Then pick another important point from your list of points. Pick another important point again. Use it for your second body paragraph. Now remember, in your second body paragraph, try to use transitions such as also, or in addition, or additionally, or secondly. You can use any of this in your second body paragraph. I remember that you can give your experience too. Okay. If the topic relates to what you've experienced previously, you can state it. You can as well use quotation, but ensure that it's an English quotation you're using. You may use idiom if you want, but make sure it's an English idiom. And the idiom or quotation must be related to the topic. I hope those ideas are clear. The next one is the third body paragraph. Okay, body paragraph 3, which is the third body paragraph. Please mute yourself now. The third body paragraph, which is paragraph 3. This is actually where you now explain the third idea that the third point or the third idea that you've jotted down. Then the fourth body paragraph, which can be your conclusion if you're intending to write about 4 body paragraphs, excluding the introduction. Then it means that the fourth paragraph should be your concluding paragraph.
Applied for
Okay.
2025-0309.
Now, if you're writing about 5 paragraphs, please now, who is this person? Who is this person?
Thank
Who
you so
is
much for waiting here,
Aman?
I honestly appreciate your patience here and giving me a minute. So yeah, I actually do see where those charges are coming from here.
If there's anybody assisting me in this
Yeah, looking
Zoom,
at the
please
account
mute everybody. Look at the way this person is talking. He's joining this meeting, not
we're
paying
actually
attention.
to billing as per the land title EPCOR code. Okay, so basically, yeah, as per the land title EPCOR code. So basically, why this is done is that whenever there is an address that is vacant and there is a period of time that there is no one paying for the service at this address, so EPCOR pulls a land title and puts the owner of the property into billing. So for the period between March. So the total balance here,
This
which you
person's
said
voice is very
we
loud.
received a
There's no
call
how
from
I
them
can
for
keep explaining.
collections in regards to the amount of $761.84, includes the charge of your water and waste service from March 9th to September 30th, 2025. And for electric charge, it was from March 9th to April 19th, 2025.
Can this person be muted?
Right.
All right, so let's continue. Then, like I was saying, if you're working on four body paragraphs, it means that the fourth paragraph will be your concluding paragraph.
I
If you're
completely
working on
understand how
five body
frustrating
paragraphs,
it is.
if you're
I'm really
working with
sorry
five
it
body
had to
paragraphs,
be this way. Because basically, it is actually required that whoever that is responsible for a particular property should call in to put the services under their name. So we are only able to determine this when we are able to put the land title, and all that process actually takes some period of time. So that's why I would say we are actually just getting that notification as of late. I'm really sorry to hear that. Right, yes. So basically, why this is actually, so why this is actually this way is because I do see here that the bill has actually been sent out to the mailing address we have on the account here for you as of September 5th, 2025. Right. So I would say that's basically the address where the bills actually went to as of the time it was sent out, because it has been sent out as of September 5th, 2025. So basically, in cases like this, sorry. Yeah, so we had to send that mail due to the fact that when we were able to get the land title result and all of that,
Am
so that was when we are able to prepare the bill here for you. And it was
Aman, can
sent
you hear
to the
me?
mailing address we have on the account.
Because this person is not even paying attention to anything. Then why did this person join the
I'm
class?
not able to guarantee that here for you as based on the land title codes, all these charges
Hello,
are
good
actually
evening. Please, Mr. Man, can you mute yourself immediately? You are interrupting the class here. You have just been interrupting since. Please, can you mute your mics immediately? We have been trying to get in touch with you, but it's not going through. Please
well,
mute
if you're
your mic
actually
immediately.
looking at a collection agent, I can get you transferred to a collection agent.
If there's a way to just remove him now so that I can continue.
But just to
Because
let
I
you
know
know,
I'll be talking while this person is also
wouldn't say
talking.
me transferring you would
To be
make
interjecting.
them determine to get
You
the
are now the
charges.
host. You can do that now. You are now the host. You are now the host, so you can do
The
that now.
charges I would
You
pay
can
is
remove
still
him
the
now.
same as I would say the charges are valid, yes.
You are now the host. You can remove him now, so you can just do that immediately. Thank you.
Unfortunately, no, yeah.
Hmm? All right, so let's continue, please. All right, so I was trying to explain the structure of the essay. Okay, so basically, like I said, you'd always need to start with an introduction. Start with an introduction, and the introduction should have two things: paraphrasing of the topic, and then you should also take a stand. Now, taking a stand is not very compulsory. You can only take a stand if the question relates to you agreeing or disagreeing, or to what extent do you agree or disagree, or whether it is a positive or negative development, or whether the advantages outweighs disadvantages. Okay, so these are areas where you can actually take a stand. Apart from that, other topics like discuss these views and give you an opinion. You don't need to. You don't need to actually state your stand because that question ideally doesn't require you to take any particular stand. Okay, if that is clear on the introduction, then I said that remember to draft your points. Okay, outline your points because on exam day you'll be giving a foolscap sheet where you have to outline your points. You have the first point, second point, third point, and the fourth point. Okay, that's if you're writing within 4 paragraphs aside the introduction. So you have about 4 points. If you want to write up to 5, okay, paragraphs aside the introduction, so it means you should have 5 points. And remember that the body paragraph, there are things you need to pay attention to. Number one, start with your most important points, okay? Very first paragraph, followed by another important point again, too, okay? Followed by another important point that transition such as firstly, foremost, or starting with, or beginning with. Okay, that's very important. You can start with. Second paragraph, you can use also, and you can also use um, in addition, or you can use additionally for the second paragraph. So third paragraph, you can have furthermore. Okay. Now, third paragraph should be you expressing your third points. So you can have like furthermore or similarly. I hope you're writing it down. Then in your fourth paragraph, let's assume that your fourth paragraph is showing contradiction. Okay. What I mean by that is if your fourth paragraph is showing opposite idea from your first 3 paragraphs, from your first 3 initial paragraphs. Okay. So the fourth paragraph, if it's showing contradiction, always ensure to start with transitions like contrarily or conversely or in contrast or in contradistinction or however. So all of this can basically work. You can use any of this. Then The fifth paragraph being your final paragraph. So you can use words like lastly, transitions like lastly, finally, conclusively, or in conclusion. All right. That's very, very important. Okay. So if these are clear, remember that you can as well use proverbs or quotation or idioms, but make sure that they relate very well to the topic and use joiners or linking words like conjunctions, like conjunctive adverbs. All right. So if you're if you're good with the structure of the essay writing, then the next aspect that we'll be looking at basically is the marking scheme. Okay, how would you be marked the in the tax one and tax two? So how would you be marked? Remember that tax two has the higher mark. Okay, it has the higher mark. It's higher than tax one.
No.
So I would professionally suggest that you should start with tax two. Okay. So that 40 minutes, you might not really spend the whole 40 minutes in writing tax two. You may not really spend the whole 40 minutes. So you might probably just spend about 30 minutes or at most 35 minutes. So you can push the remaining 5 minutes to tax one. So you have ideally 25 minutes for tax one. And also remember when you're done writing, try to proofread. Very, very important. Before you submit, ensure to proofread. Go through your writing from tax one to tax two. And as you're going through it, make sure you're um, making every possible correction in terms of spelling, in terms of sentence construction, in terms of punctuation marks. Make sure you're actually, you know, making all those corrections. They are very, very important. Don't allow the examiner to make the corrections for you because any error in IELTS is minus half. Okay, minus half mark deducted immediately. Okay, and of course that will cost a lot. So you need to be very conscious
Great,
about
great, yeah.
all of
Thanks.
these. Ensure
I do
to
have
even
an
when you
account number here.
proofread,
347
make sure you proofread.
23847.
Excuse me. And when you're proofreading, make sure you proofread like the examiner. Okay, make sure you proofread like the examiner. Do not proofread as the writer. Like read it as if you are the examiner, whereby you pay attention to every word that you've written there and make sure you make the correction as well too. Okay, so now let's look at the marking scheme. Now concerning the marking scheme, there are four criteria. There are four criteria that the examiner will be using to grade you. Okay, what are those four criteria? The first one is called tax achievement. Okay, tax achievement or tax completion. Either you call it tax achievement or tax completion. Now, examiner will try to assess to know if you're able to meet up to the length of words. Remember, tax one is 150, tax two is 250. Were you able to meet up to the length of word? Then two, okay, two is the point you expressed, the content, okay, does it relate to the question? The body of your write-up, does it relate to the question? Okay, it is very, very important. And secondly, examiner will be looking at lexical resource, vocabulary. Another name for lexical resource means vocabulary. So try as much as possible, try as much as possible to use good vocabulary. Yes, use good vocabulary. Okay, do not use everyday vocabulary. Use good vocabulary. Use elevated words. And remember that you'll be rewarded. The examiner will appreciate you when you use elevated words in the body of your writing. You can use tax, three or four vocabulary. Then in tax two, you can use about three or four vocabulary. That's encouraging. And personally learn vocabulary. You can use probably ChatGPT or Claude AI Just give it a prompt. It will generate a lot of vocabulary. Then study it, learn it. Okay, so it is advisable that you use good vocabulary, elevated vocabularies in your writing. Now, the third one is coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion. Now, coherence means the logical flow of ideas, the logical flow of ideas in each of your paragraphs. So examiner will take time to observe the logical flow of ideas in each of your paragraphs. Okay. Paragraph one, which is the body paragraph one, should flow with paragraph two. Two should flow with paragraph three. Okay. Now, if paragraph four is showing a contradiction, the examiner would try to check paragraph four and also check the previous three paragraphs you've written to be sure that yes, is paragraph four is truly showing contradiction. That's why I advise that you use transitions like however, okay, conversely, contrarily, and the rest of them. Make sure you use all these transitions. Because the moment the examiner sees a transition, okay, he or she will likely predict what the paragraph is about. Then after coherence, which is the local flow of ideas, how ideas are flowing in each of the paragraph. So it won't be that in a paragraph, four sentences are talking about something from the last three sentences. That's not coherence at all. Coherence simply means there will be a logical flow of ideas, of the thought, of the feelings, of the opinion you're expressing. There must be a logical flow. Then cohesion means that you must be able to use linking words, connectors, such as conjunctions. Okay, remember you look at coordinating conjunction. Okay, you look at the odd type, semi-coordinating conjunction, cumulative conjunction, subordinating conjunction. You must use them, all right, to join ideas together. You must also use conjunctive adverbs as well too to express your idea, okay, whereby you use therefore, okay, and some other words too like that. So they are very, very important. They're very, very important. Then the last one is basically the areas where students will find it a little bit challenging. Okay, the last one, which is number 4, is grammatical range, and accuracy. So under this aspect, there are things that examiners will be looking out for. There are things that examiner will be looking out for. And what are those things? Number one, examiner will be looking out for grammar. Okay, word class. If you're using a noun, use a noun very well. Do not combine a noun with a verb. Don't interchange a noun with a verb. If you're using a noun, use a noun appropriately. If you're using a verb, use a verb appropriately. If you're using an adjective, use an adjective appropriately. If you're using a preposition or interjection, use them appropriately. Let me give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Now, um, let me type it. Let me type it so that we'll be able to see it. Look at this word, advice, okay, and then advise. If you look at both of them, this is what I'm talking about word class, okay, about word class. The first one is a noun, the second one is a verb. Now, in the first one, the stress is placed on the first syllable, and the second one, the stress is placed on the second syllable in case if you're pronouncing it. Advice, the first one, which is the noun. Advise, the second one, which is the verb. So now, because when I will get to speaking, examiner would be able to use this to assess as well too. Okay, so if you're writing, be very, very careful. Be very, very careful when you're writing. Do not mix a noun with a verb. Do not mix a verb with a noun. That's in terms of grammar. And then be conscious of your concord rules. Yes. Singular subject will go with a singular verb. Plural subject will go with a plural verb. Okay. And so many other concord rules. You need to know them very well so that when you're writing, you won't be able to make any mistakes. Now, aside from that, the next one is punctuation marks. Yes, you need to be very good. You need to be very good with your usage of punctuation marks. You need to be very, very good. When using a punctuation mark, use it appropriately. Use punctuation mark appropriately. When using a full stop, use a full stop appropriately. Use a comma appropriately. Okay? And remember, after a comma, the next letter will begin with a small letter. Remember? Okay? Except if it's a proper noun. When you have a full stop, the next letter will start with a capital letter. Remember? And then you can use speech mark or and then you can also use ellipsis is allowed if you want to show an omission of a particular word, and so many other punctuation marks. Just use the common ones, basically, the common ones. Okay, so master your punctuation marks very, very well. The next one is sentence construction. Yes, don't construct sentence fragment. Use complete sentence. What do I mean by complete sentences? Use complete sentences. Make sure your sentence has a subject, a verb, an object, a complement, and an adjunct. This is SVOCA. All right. This is the structure of a sentence. Like the way I usually see some people say, will attend to it, will attend to it. That's a sentence fragment. That's not a complete sentence. Who will attend to it? There's no subject there. When you're constructing a sentence, ensure to construct a complete sentence, not a sentence fragment, not a phrase. Construct a complete sentence. And when you're writing the essay, don't abbreviate. Write your words in full. Express your words in full. There's no room for abbreviation. Express them in full. Construct complete sentences. All right. Then you can use a combination of simple sentence and a compound sentence and a complex sentence, even compound complex sentences. You can use them. They're allowed in the essay. Okay. They're allowed in the essay. Very, very important. Then another one again is tenses. Tenses. Use appropriate tenses. Okay. If what you're saying is happening present, use verbs that portrays that, such as is, am. If what you're talking about had already happened in the past, use verbs that suggest past tense, such as was, or were, or had. If what you're talking about will happen in the future, all right, use verbs that will portray future tenses, such as will or shall. Very, very important. You need to pay attention to this. Okay. And then your spellings. You must be very good with spellings when it comes to starting from listening till the end. You must be very good with spellings. You must be very, very good with spellings. Yes. There is no room for SQs. The same way to use ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT to give you um 100 commonly misspelled English words. If you think 100 is too small, you can ask ChatGPT to give you 500 commonly misspelled English words. You will see the whole 500. What do? Take your time to study that. Take your time, study the spellings very well. When it comes to vocabulary, study the vocabularies too. Okay? Those two things are very, very important. They are very, very important. So this is basically how you'll be graded. Number one, task achievement. Number two, lexical resource. Number three, coherence and cohesion. Number four, grammatical range and accuracy. Very, very important. And then, of course, let me also chip in this aspect. When it comes to grammar, you know that there are certain categories that is called non-count nouns, okay? Meaning that these are nouns that you cannot pluralize, okay? Example is information, equipment, all right? Cutlery, behavior, potential. There are many of them, okay? You cannot add letter S to them, all right? But you can use petitive, something we'll call petitive in English. Repetitive is just like a word or a group of words that you attach to non-counts. For example, you can say a piece of information, that's singular, or you can say pieces of information, that's plural, okay? And many more like that. So there are a whole lot that you need to really pay attention to. And then if you have transitive verbs like demand, solicit, request, they don't take preposition. Transitive verbs do not accommodate preposition. For example, you can say, I demand for. No, I demand, then you impute the next word there, which is what you demand. I demand explanation from you, not I demand for explanation. Don't say, I solicit money. No, it's money. So these are transitive verbs. They do accommodate position. Transitive verbs would accommodate the object immediately. There are many more. There are many more that I may not really have so much time to share with you, except if you join about a private one-on-one class. Okay? This is going to be free. I think I'm beyond the free aspects too. Okay. Now we've been able to cover the tax. We've been able to cover the tax too. Okay, this is 8:02. I'm going to be taking questions now. I'm going to be taking questions. I'm going to be taking questions. So, so I'm going to do something very special tomorrow. So tomorrow, because I'm going to be starting speaking. I'll be starting speaking on Friday. So tomorrow, what I will do is this. Um, I'll give audience for everybody to talk. I want to know what you've been practicing. If there are challenges that you have, let's discuss. Okay, so tomorrow is purely questions for the next 1 hour. Questions. You ask me a question about the one you've been studying, the question, the challenges you've been having about and remember, like I said, you should be able to you should be able to start you should be able to start practicing by now. You should have cleared listening, you should have cleared reading by now. You should be thinking about jumping straight to writing. Okay. And then tomorrow as well too, I'll also display um another writing for tax one and tax two. So we'll be able to interact. I'll ask questions. How do you paraphrase this? How do you answer this? So get ready because if you need to talk, you just signify I will mute you so you'll be able to speak. So I want to really take proper assessments tomorrow. That's just a summary of what I'm saying. I want to take proper assessments tomorrow because by Friday I'm moving to speaking. Okay. I won't conclude the speaking on Friday. I'll possibly conclude it on Monday. Okay. Then on Wednesday, we'll take a summary of everything. I will touch on listening, reading, writing, and speaking again. I will just touch them random. But tomorrow, I'm doing a proper assessment tomorrow. What I mean by that is once we are all gathered, you will share your what you've been doing. Yes, what you've been. I want to really know those that are serious because look at this person I removed now. What's her name? What's his name rather? I've forgotten. This person is not paying attention at all. He's busy teaching somebody else. I don't know what they are discussing or what they are talking about. You understand? And that's not supposed to be. This is an opportunity for you to learn everything that you need concerning IELTS, concerning English language. All right. So let me entertain questions, please. I'm waiting. I'm listening. Go ahead. You can just type it. You can just type it on the comments. Okay, yes. I have a question from Read One. Let me read it so that I can also explain that. Okay, yes, so thank you, Mr. Prince, for two-part questions in tax two. Discussion of both views, cause and effect, advantage and disadvantage. Do we allocate body paragraph one and two to one part? Okay, and body paragraph three and four to the other part. Okay. Okay, that's a very good question. I'm asking because if this is the case, we can only raise 2 points in each part. So now this is the approach now. This is how to answer this particular question. If you're asked, discuss both views and give your own opinion, okay? Now let me make it make sense, and then let me also put it in context. Now, if you ask the question, let's say for example, let me just come up with a question so that we all follow. Okay, let me come up with a question. So employers, pay attention to this question. Employers often, I'm just giving this question from my head. Everything that I'm going to teach is basically from my head. I don't look at anything, so I'm just giving you this question from my head. So just pay attention. Okay, so employers often ask applicants for personal information such as names, hobbies, whether they are married or not. Some people consider this important, others disagree. I have created two views there. If you're following, I've created two views. Now, my question is now, discuss both views, discuss both views, and give your own opinion. That's the question. So what do? Now, you start an introduction, which is what? I phrase that topic. uh, That is, employers usually ask applicants to provide personal information such as um, their date of birth, hobbies and interests, whether they are married or not. Okay. Um, Most people consider this to be necessary in recruitment stage, while others disagree. That's the question is, discuss both these views. Remember, I've created views already in that topic. I've created two views. People that consider it necessary, that it's very important, while others disagree. So I've created two views there. So now discuss both these views and give your own opinion. So in this case, now what do? All right, this is the strategy. Have your introduction. Now, under your introduction, you just simply paraphrase the. You're not taking standard, remember. You're not taking any standard. So just paraphrase the topic, and then the first body paragraph and the second body paragraph. Okay, you discuss the first view. Remember, first body paragraph and second body paragraph. You discuss the first view. Okay, then third body paragraph and fourth body paragraph, you discuss the second view. The fifth body paragraph, you state your own opinion. Now remember that your own opinion has to be whether the first body paragraph or second body paragraph. You have to just buttress whether the first body paragraph or the second body paragraph. That's what you simply have to do. So read one, please let me know if this is very clear to you. Okay, you can just respond to me. Let me know if it is straightforward and is very clear. I've just done like a practical aspect of it here. Read one, I'm waiting for you. All right, so while we're waiting for him, someone else can also ask a question. Okay, and then if you have cause and effect, yeah, you state the causes and you state the effect. Remember, like I told you, minimum of 4 paragraphs aside the introduction, maximum of 5 paragraphs aside the introduction. So if you have cause and effect, first two body paragraph for cause, then second last two body paragraphs for effects. For example, paragraph 1 and paragraph 2 for causes, then paragraph 3 and paragraph 4 for effects. The same thing applies to advantages and disadvantages. Any other question? I'm waiting. This is 10 minutes past 8. I'm waiting. Any other question? Okay, thank you, read one. So for cause and effect, like I mentioned now, you have your introduction. Okay, so after introduction, the first body paragraph and the second body paragraph, you devote it for causes. Then the third and fourth body paragraph, you devote it for what? For effects. Remember, inside the last two body paragraphs, in the last two body paragraphs, the very first last one, okay, is what you use as your concluding paragraph if you're writing 4 paragraphs. Let me say that again. Let me say it again. You know, you have your introduction, and then your first body paragraph and second body paragraph will stand for causes. Your last two body paragraph will stand for effects. But remember, that very last body paragraph, the fourth one, the fourth body paragraph will stand as your concluding paragraph. Don't forget. All right. Now, okay, no problem. So let's see. Any other possible question? Any other possible question? Any other possible question? I'm waiting. If you're not asking a question, it simply means that everything is clear to you. Okay, good. I have another one. Good evening, sir. Sir, please, in a question that has to do with agree or disagree, sir, can we include I agree in introduction? Yes, basically, you see, man picking is not, wasn't following me, wasn't paying attention. I said under the introduction, you must have two things: paraphrase the topic and take a stand. By taking a stand, you're simply saying that I strongly agree with this view or I strongly disagree with this view. If you want to use elevated vocabulary, like big vocabulary, you can change that strong to I vehemently agree with this view or I vehemently disagree with this view. That's what you can do. All right, so please, I'm going to something very important. We are 18 now. Please prepare your questions tomorrow. I have about three modules now: listening, reading, and writing. Please prepare your questions tomorrow. Like I said, tomorrow I'll basically be explaining, attending to your questions. And if it is possible, before tomorrow's class, please practice. You've been sent all those materials, Abi. I'm sure you must have been sent all those materials. So please prepare very well. Attempt as many questions as possible and come with your questions. Yes, I want to really assess what you've been doing because I've covered three modules today now: listening, reading, and writing. Okay. Before I move to speaking, which I'm hoping to do I'm hoping to start on Friday. So I want to properly assess us. Let me know what we've been doing. Okay. And like I said, before tomorrow, practice as many as possible. You understand? Practice as many as possible. All right. Thank you so much. And if you have more questions, please bring it tomorrow because we'll be entertaining questions tomorrow. I want to do my own personal evaluation of you and see what you've been doing. All right. Because I noticed that some people are not paying attention. They will just join and be doing some other things and they'll be using their noise to distract us. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Do have a good night rest. So see you tomorrow by God's grace. Bye bye. All right. Thank you. Thank you, read one. And then I have a question from, I think somebody asked it. Let me quickly answer this before I leave. Innocence. So you said that we should profane. No, proofread before submitting our answers, not question our answers. But what about when you don't have any time to do that? You have to plan yourself basically. So please refrain this question. Just yes, just rephrase this particular question and bring it tomorrow, please. Innocent, so that I can take my time to explain very well. And if you have further question, Innocent, please just jot your questions down. Tomorrow I'm going to be assessing us thoroughly on questions. Okay? Yes, I'll be assessing us on questions. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chidozie. Thank you, Chukudi. All right. So see you tomorrow then. See you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Rose. Thank you all. Thank you. I really appreciate your attention, especially for those that are paying attention and listening. Thank you. All right. Bye all. Bye.